God says, my child, before you were even aware of what you were asking for, before your heart learned how to hope again, before your tears dried and before your prayers found words, I had already made a choice for you. You thought life was happening randomly. You believed people came and left because of coincidence. You blamed yourself for loving too deeply, for trusting too easily, for staying longer than you should have. But listen to me now, quietly, with your heart open. Nothing in your life was accidental. Not the love that failed. Not the silence that followed. Not the loneliness that taught you strength. I know there were nights when you looked at the ceiling and asked me why everyone else seemed to find love while you kept learning lessons. You smiled during the day, but inside, you carried a tired heart. You wondered if something was wrong with you. You questioned your worth. You almost accepted the idea that love might not be written for you the way it is for others. But my child, I was never absent. I was working in ways you could not see. I separated you from people who could touch your body but never reach your soul. I removed those who loved the idea of you, but not the truth of you. I allowed some connections to end painfully because if they had stayed, they would have destroyed the future I was preparing. You call it heartbreak. I call it protection. Every time you begged me to make someone stay, I held your hand and whispered no, not because you were unlovable, but because they were not the one I chose. I saw the future you could not see. I saw how small you would have become trying to keep them. I saw the compromises you would have made until you forgot who you were. So I said no, even when it broke you. And now, hear me clearly. The waiting is not meaningless. The loneliness is not punishment. The silence is not rejection. It is preparation. Because when I choose a soulmate, I do not choose lightly. For 2026, my child, I have chosen someone for you. Not randomly. Not impulsively. Not because time was running out. I chose them because their soul speaks the same language as yours, even if your minds have not yet understood it. You think you are late. You think time has passed you by. You think opportunities slipped through your fingers. But I operate outside of clocks and calendars. What I promise arrives exactly when it must. There were moments when you almost crossed paths with this person. Almost met. Almost spoke. Almost noticed. But almost was not enough yet. Because both of you were still becoming. Still healing. Still shedding versions of yourselves that could not love correctly. You were learning boundaries. They were learning courage. You were learning self-worth. They were learning honesty. If I had allowed you to meet too soon, you would have loved each other from wounds, not from wholeness. And wounded love breaks easily. So I kept you apart, not as strangers, but as souls moving closer with every lesson. You may not realize it, but you already feel their presence. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness. Sometimes as a sudden memory that doesn't belong to your past. Sometimes as a strange peace mixed with fear, as if something big is approaching and you don't know whether to run or stay still. That is not anxiety. That is alignment. I have watched you grow quieter, deeper, more selective. I have watched you stop chasing and start listening. I have watched you learn how to sit with yourself without running to distractions. These changes were not random. They were required. Because the person I have chosen for you is not here to complete you. They are here to walk with you. And for that, you had to learn how to stand on your own first. You asked me once, God, why do I feel like I've known someone I haven't met yet? My child, souls recognize before eyes do. The connection you are moving toward is not loud. It does not arrive with chaos. It does not begin with confusion or mixed signals. It arrives with calm recognition. With a feeling of home you cannot explain. With a sense of safety that does not demand proof. This is why I kept removing people who brought intensity without peace. Passion without stability. Words without actions. Because the soulmate I have chosen does not drain you, they strengthen you. They will not compete with your past. They will understand it. They will not fear your depth. They will respect it. They will not rush your heart. They will protect it. And yes, the name will shock you. Not because it is famous. Not because it is dramatic. But because when you finally hear it spoken with truth, something inside you will whisper, it was always you. You might resist it at first. You might question me. You might say, God, not this person. And I will gently remind you that I see beyond your logic. I see beyond your fear. I see beyond your past disappointments. You judge by what you remember. I choose by what will last. There is a reason I did not reveal everything at once. Love is sacred, and sacred things are uncovered slowly. If I told you everything now, your mind would interfere before your heart could understand. So for now, I only ask this of you, stay open. Do not go back to what I removed. Do not settle because you are tired of waiting. Do not close your heart to protect yourself from disappointment. What is coming does not need force. It needs faith. You will notice subtle shifts soon. Conversations that feel different. Encounters that linger in your thoughts. A name appearing more than once. In unexpected places. Not to confuse you, but to prepare you. I am not playing games with your heart. I am guarding it. You were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. You were being aligned with a soul that can love you without losing themselves, and allow you to love without losing who you are. This is only the beginning. What I have chosen will not rush into your life loudly. It will arrive quietly, firmly, and with purpose. And when it does, you will understand why every closed door before this one had to remain shut. Rest now, my child. Trust the process you cannot yet see. Because the selection has already been made, and your heart is closer to its answer than you think. I know you are wondering why it took so long. I know a part of you still asks me quietly, God, if this was meant for me, why did it hurt so much before? Listen to me now, with the same heart that learned how to survive when love disappointed you. The distance was never denial. The delay was never cruelty. It was wisdom. There were seasons when you were ready to give your heart to anyone who stayed. You called it loyalty, but deep inside, it was fear of being alone. I could not allow your soulmate to meet a version of you that was still begging to be chosen. Because the love I am preparing for you does not begin with desperation. It begins with dignity. And while you were learning this, the other soul was also being shaped. Yes, my child, they were struggling too. There were nights when they questioned their own worth. Days when they felt unseen. Moments when they wanted to give up on love completely. They carried their own scars, their own disappointments, their own regrets. I could not let two wounded hearts collide and call it destiny. That would have been chaos, not covenant. So I worked on both of you, separately. I taught you how to let go. I taught them how to speak truth. I taught you how to wait without losing faith. I taught them how to stand firm without running away. You thought you were being ignored, but you were being protected from a love that would not have survived your growth. Some connections ended because they were only meant to teach you what love is not. Some people left because they could only meet you at the level you had already outgrown. I removed them not because you failed, but because you evolved. There were moments when you felt ready and nothing happened. You prayed harder. You waited longer. You questioned my timing. But timing is not about readiness alone, it is about alignment. Both souls must be ready at the same time, in the same truth, with the same intention. And until that moment arrived, I kept you apart. You may not realize it, but there were invisible threads pulling you closer with every lesson you learned. Each time you chose peace over chaos. Each time you walked away instead of chasing. Each time you healed instead of hardened. Those were not small victories, they were milestones. I watched you stop romanticizing pain. I watched you stop mistaking silence for mystery. I watched you stop calling inconsistency love. These changes mattered more than you know. Because the soulmate I have chosen for you does not arrive to rescue you from loneliness. They arrive to walk beside you in wholeness. And wholeness cannot be rushed. There were moments when both of you felt an unexplainable pull, toward change, toward growth, toward something you could not name. That pull was not coincidence. It was preparation. I was teaching you both how to recognize peace when it finally stood in front of you. I know there were times when you almost settled. You told yourself, this is good enough. But your spirit remained restless, because deep down you knew, this was not it. That restlessness was me whispering, wait. And you waited, even when it hurt. That is why the love coming into your life will not feel like a struggle. It will feel steady. Familiar. Safe. It will not ask you to prove your worth. It will recognize it instantly. Do you know why I did not let you meet earlier? Because back then, you would have tried to impress each other. You would have hidden parts of yourselves. You would have loved carefully, fearfully. Now, you are learning how to love honestly. The connection you are moving toward does not need masks. They will meet the real you, the one who knows their value, who speaks their needs, who does not shrink to be accepted. And you will meet the real them, the one who is no longer running from depth, commitment, or truth. This is why I say the waiting was necessary. You thought you were losing time, but you were gaining clarity. You thought you were missing out, but you were being set apart. I was removing distractions so you could recognize destiny when it finally arrived. And when it does, you will understand something that once confused you. You will see why every almost had to remain unfinished. Why every closed door was mercy. Why every delay was kindness disguised as silence. The name I will reveal will not shock you because it is unfamiliar. It will shock you because it has been quietly present in your life in ways you did not understand. A person you underestimated. A connection you never explored. A presence you felt but never questioned deeply enough. And when realization begins to settle in your heart, you may feel fear. That fear is not a warning, it is the mind catching up to what the soul already knows. Do not run from that feeling. Sit with it. Let it speak. Let it guide you. Because what is unfolding is not rushed, not forced, not temporary. It is chosen. I did not delay this love to punish you. I delayed it to preserve it. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. What I have prepared will meet you where you are, not where you were. And when the moment arrives, you will not have to chase, convince, or question. You will simply recognize. Rest in this truth, my child. The separation had a purpose. The silence had meaning. And the next sign you receive will not confuse you, it will confirm what your heart has been quietly preparing for all along. You are closer now than you realize. Closer than the days you count. Closer than the doubts you still carry quietly in your chest. I want you to listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is not meant for your ears alone, it is meant for your spirit. Before I ever speak the name out loud, I always allow recognition to come first. Because when something is truly chosen, it does not need introduction. It feels remembered. The signs you are about to experience are not loud. They will not shake the world around you. They will gently shift something inside you. And if you pay attention, you will know, this is not ordinary. You may notice a person whose presence feels different from others. Not intense. Not overwhelming. Just steady. When they enter a space, your breathing changes. Your guard lowers without effort. Your mind grows quiet. This is not excitement driven by fear. This is peace wrapped in curiosity. That is one sign. Another sign will come through familiarity without history. You will feel like you have known them before, even if your conversations have been few. Their voice will not demand attention, but when they speak, something in you listens. Not because of what they say, but because of how it feels when they say it. You will not need to impress them. You will not feel the urge to perform. You will not rehearse your words in your head. You will be yourself without permission. Pay attention to how your body responds. Destiny often speaks through the body before the mind understands. You may feel warmth in your chest. A soft pressure in your heart. A sudden stillness. These are not random sensations. They are recognition. You have felt attraction before. You have felt excitement before. But this will feel different. This will feel safe. And safety will confuse you at first, because you are still learning that peace does not mean boredom. You may question it. You may think, why does this feel so simple? My child, real alignment does not shout. It whispers. I will also send signs through repetition. You may begin to notice the same places, the same timings, the same subtle encounters. Not coincidences, confirmations. Moments where paths cross naturally, without effort. Without chasing. Without planning. And then there will be the dreams. Not dramatic dreams. Not clear faces or loud messages. Just feelings. Emotions that stay with you after you wake up. Comfort. Familiarity. A sense of belonging you cannot explain. You will wake up calmer, not shaken. That calm is important. The person I have chosen will not trigger your old wounds, they will highlight how much you have healed. You will notice that you do not feel the need to test them, to push them away, or to protect yourself excessively. Your heart will stay open, even when your mind tries to interfere. This is how you will know. There will also be moments of resistance. You may think, this cannot be it. Or, this does not match what I imagined. That resistance is not intuition, it is memory. It is your past trying to define your future. Do not confuse familiarity of pain with comfort of truth. Another sign will come through silence. Comfortable silence. Not awkward. Not heavy. Silence that feels full. When you can sit next to someone and feel understood without words, that is rare. And rare things are often chosen carefully. You will notice that time behaves differently around them. Conversations feel shorter than they are. Moments linger longer in your thoughts. You may find yourself smiling without knowing why, long after the interaction ends. And then there is the strongest sign of all. You will feel seen. Not judged. Not analyzed. Not questioned. Seen. They will notice things about you that others missed. Not your achievements, but your patterns. Your pauses. Your emotions behind the words. And they will not use this knowledge to control you, but to understand you. This is how love is meant to feel. I will not send confusion as a sign. I will not send anxiety as confirmation. I will not send chaos as destiny. What I send will bring clarity, even if it takes time to fully accept it. You may also notice a strange sense of timing around this person. They appear when you are not looking. They speak when you are silent. They show up when you have stopped asking. This is alignment, not coincidence. The signs will come gently, but consistently. Not once. Not twice. Repeated enough that your heart begins to trust what your mind still questions. And then, the name will start appearing. Not in a dramatic way. Casually. In conversations that have nothing to do with love. In places you least expect. It will catch your attention, not because it is loud, but because it feels familiar. And every time you hear it, something in you will pause. Do not rush to conclusions. Do not force meaning. Let the signs unfold naturally. What is chosen does not need to be chased. You are not being tested. You are being prepared. The recognition will come before the revelation. The feeling will come before the confirmation. The knowing will come before the name. Trust this process, my child. Because when I finally speak the name clearly, it will not feel new. It will feel like something you have always known, but were only now ready to accept. And when that moment arrives, your heart will not race. It will rest. Now your heart is beginning to understand what your mind has been trying to resist. You feel it, don't you? That quiet shift. That moment when denial no longer feels honest. This is the space where truth begins to rise, not loudly, not forcefully, but with certainty. Before a name is ever spoken on the lips, it is written in the soul. Long before you questioned it, long before you connected the signs, long before you allowed yourself to consider the possibility, the name was already written into your life. Not as a shock meant to hurt you, but as a revelation meant to free you from confusion. You ask me, God, why does this feel familiar? Because familiarity is not always repetition of the past. Sometimes it is recognition of destiny. The reason this name unsettles you is not because it is wrong, but because it challenges what you believed love was supposed to look like. You imagined love arriving in a certain form, with certain timing, certain intensity. But I do not follow expectations. I follow alignment. This name carries memory. Not memory of romance, but memory of presence. You have heard it before. Perhaps casually. Perhaps often. Perhaps in moments that seemed meaningless at the time. But every time it passed your ears, something inside you noticed, even if you ignored it. The soul always notices before the mind allows it. You may feel a wave of resistance now. Thoughts like, but God, they are not who I imagined. Or, this does not make sense. That resistance is natural. When truth arrives, it does not ask for permission, it asks for honesty. And honesty requires courage. The name I have chosen does not shock you because it is unfamiliar. It shocks you because it was closer than you thought. Closer in proximity. Closer in time. Closer in connection. You did not expect destiny to feel this near. You assumed love would arrive from far away, from a dramatic story, from a perfect moment. But love chosen by me often arrives quietly, already woven into your life in ways you did not recognize as significant. This is where many people turn away. They mistake simplicity for insignificance. They mistake calm for lack of passion. They mistake stability for boredom. But my child, chaos is not passion, and intensity is not intimacy. The name I have written is steady. It carries grounding energy. It does not demand your attention, it earns your trust. When you think of this person, you do not feel overwhelmed, you feel thoughtful, reflective, calm. And that calm scares you. Because chaos trained you to believe love must hurt to be real. But I am here to unteach you that lie. This name will not trigger your insecurities, it will expose them so they can finally be healed. This person will not mirror your wounds. They will meet you in your growth. You may begin to replay past moments in your mind. Conversations that felt ordinary at the time. Interactions that lingered without reason. Looks exchanged without explanation. And suddenly, you will see them differently. Not with fantasy. With clarity. That clarity may bring tears, not of sadness, but of release. Release from the idea that love must be complicated. Release from the belief that you must suffer to be chosen. You will realize that while you were searching for love, love was learning how to reach you gently. I know you are afraid to trust this knowing. You fear disappointment. You fear misinterpreting the signs. But hear me clearly, I do not confuse my children. What I reveal brings peace, even if it requires adjustment. The name you are resisting is not a mistake. It is an invitation. An invitation to love differently. To love honestly. To love without fear of loss controlling your choices. You may want certainty before surrender. But surrender is what creates certainty. Do not rush to speak. Do not rush to act. Allow the truth to settle naturally. Let your heart catch up to what your soul has already accepted. Because the moment you stop fighting this recognition, you will feel it, the deep exhale of alignment. And then you will understand why I waited. Why I protected you. Why I delayed you. Why I prepared you. The name was written long before you noticed it. Long before you were ready to accept it. And now, as you sit with this truth, know this, I am not asking you to force anything. I am only asking you to trust what is already unfolding. The final confirmation will not come as a shock to your spirit. It will feel like coming home. And when you are ready, I will speak clearly, not to surprise you, but to reassure you that what your heart has begun to recognize is real. Now listen to me carefully, my child, because this is where everything becomes gentle, clear, and complete. You have felt the pull. You have resisted it. You have sat with the truth long enough for it to stop frightening you. That is how I know you are ready. The person I have chosen for you for 2026 is not coming to disrupt your life, they are coming to fit into it. Not to compete with your past, not to erase it, but to honor the journey that shaped you into who you are now. This is not a love that arrives to rescue you. It arrives to recognize you. By now, your heart already knows who this is. I do not need to shout the name. I do not need to dramatize it. The confirmation you seek has been forming quietly inside you, piece by piece, until doubt lost its strength. You may have noticed how your thoughts have softened. How fear no longer screams the way it used to. How instead of anxiety, you feel calm curiosity. That shift did not come from imagination. It came from alignment. This is how chosen love feels. You wondered once if love would ever feel safe. You questioned whether you would always have to protect yourself, always have to guess, always have to brace for loss. But I tell you now, what I am bringing into your life does not require armor. This connection will grow naturally. Slowly. With respect. With patience. With care. There will be no rushing, no pressure, no confusion disguised as excitement. What grows here is rooted, not reactive. The person I chose will choose you back, not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. In actions. In presence. In showing up when it matters. They will not disappear when things get real. They will not make you question where you stand. And you, my child, will not feel small loving them. You will not feel like you are asking for too much. You will not feel like you must earn affection. You will simply be met. I know you still carry a quiet fear. What if I'm wrong? But understand this. Intuition brings peace even when it challenges you. Fear brings noise. What you feel now is not noise. It is clarity settling in. 2026 is not just a year of meeting. It is a year of building. Of creating something steady, intentional, and protected. I am not sending passion that burns quickly. I am sending love that lasts. There may be moments when your past tries to speak louder than your present. When old habits resurface. When you want to retreat instead of trust. When you want to test instead of receive. When that happens, pause, and remember this moment. Remember that I chose with wisdom, not impulse. Do not allow outside voices to plant doubt. Not friends who project their fears. Not memories that no longer belong to you. Not expectations shaped by what hurt you before. What I have prepared does not need approval. It needs openness. You are allowed to be happy without guilt. You are allowed to feel safe without suspicion. You are allowed to receive love without wondering when it will end. The season of survival is closing. The season of partnership is beginning. And I want you to know this clearly, you were never hard to love. You were simply waiting for someone who could love you right. I bless this connection before it fully unfolds. I bless the conversations you have not yet had. I bless the moments of laughter, the quiet evenings, the shared growth, the understanding that words cannot always explain. I bless your heart with patience. I bless your mind with peace. I bless your future with stability and joy. What comes next will not feel like chasing destiny. It will feel like stepping into it. Trust what has been revealed. Trust what you feel when you are honest with yourself. Trust that I would not guide you this far only to confuse you now. You are not late. You are not mistaken. You are not alone. I have chosen carefully. I have prepared intentionally. And I am walking with you into what comes next. Rest in this knowing, my child. What was chosen for you is already choosing you back. I see your heart still listening. I see that even after clarity, something inside you is asking for deeper reassurance, not because you doubt me, but because what is coming matters to you more than anything before. So listen again, slowly, gently. Let these words settle where fear used to live. There is a reason I am speaking to you this way. I do not speak this deeply unless the soul listening is ready to receive truth without running from it. You are not here by accident. You are not hearing this because you are curious. You are hearing this because your season has shifted, and your spirit already stepped into it before your mind could catch up. You have survived a version of life where you were always the one who tried harder. You loved deeply, even when it was not safe. You stayed longer than you should have. You forgave without being understood. You hoped even when evidence told you to stop. That was not weakness. That was purity. But purity without protection becomes exhaustion. That is why I intervened. I watched every tear you hid. I heard every prayer you whispered when you felt foolish for still believing. I felt the heaviness in your chest when you wondered if love was something meant only for others. And still, you kept your heart open. That alone tells me everything I need to know about you. The love I am bringing into your life is not here to test your endurance. It is here to reward your faith. Not faith in people, but faith in me. Faith that even when things did not make sense, something meaningful was being prepared. You may not understand this yet, but the person chosen for you also went through moments where they almost gave up. They questioned timing. They questioned themselves. They wondered why connection felt delayed, why fulfillment seemed close but never complete. They felt an emptiness they could not name. That emptiness was not lack. It was space being preserved for you. I allowed both of you to feel incomplete, not to cause suffering, but to ensure that when you finally meet in truth, you recognize the difference between distraction and destiny. What is coming will not rush your healing, it will respect it. You will notice something powerful about this connection: it will not demand proof of loyalty. There will be no games. No power struggles. No fear-based attachment. What binds you together will not be control, but understanding. This is the kind of love that does not rise and fall based on mood. It is consistent. It is grounded. It is patient. And patience, my child, is something you have learned the hard way. There were times you begged me to hurry. You said, "God, I am tired of being strong." And I heard you. But strength was not what I was building, you already had that. I was building discernment. The ability to recognize what deserves your heart and what only wants your attention. Now you know the difference. That is why I trust you with what is coming next. Do not be surprised if, at first, this love feels unfamiliar. Not because it is wrong, but because it does not mirror your past. You were conditioned to associate love with uncertainty. With waiting for replies. With questioning intentions. With emotional highs and lows. This will feel different. It will feel calm. It will feel steady. It will feel mutual. And because of that, you may wonder if something is missing. Nothing is missing. Something toxic is missing. You are stepping into a kind of love that does not require suffering to be meaningful. A love where you can rest without fear that rest will cost you connection. This is not a coincidence. It is evolution. I also want to speak to the fear you haven't said out loud, the fear of losing this before it fully begins. The fear that happiness might be temporary. The fear that trusting again could lead to disappointment. Hear me clearly, what is built with me at the center is not fragile. Yes, challenges will come. Growth always brings adjustment. But this connection will not break at the first sign of difficulty. It will not run when things require effort. It will not disappear when vulnerability deepens. You are not being given perfection. You are being given partnership. There is a difference. This person will not always have the right words, but they will have the right intentions. They will not always understand immediately, but they will try. They will not love you flawlessly, but they will love you sincerely. And sincerity is what lasts. I know you once believed love had to arrive dramatically to be real. But the most sacred things often arrive quietly. Like dawn. Like healing. Like peace. The future I am opening for you is not loud. It is stable. You will build routines together. Small habits. Shared silences. Inside jokes. Safe conversations. You will grow into each other's lives instead of forcing yourselves into them. And one day, without realizing when it happened, you will look back and understand, this is what I was waiting for. Not the excitement that fades. Not the passion that burns out. But the presence that stays. I want you to release one more thing before you move forward: comparison. Do not measure this love against what others have. Do not rush milestones because you think time is running out. Do not let the world tell you how your story should unfold. This story is sacred because it is yours. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Every delay refined you. Every ending redirected you. Every disappointment protected you. And now, something meaningful is beginning, not suddenly, not magically, but truthfully. When doubts try to return, remember how far you've come. Remember the version of you who once begged for clarity. That clarity is here now. It may not shout, but it is steady. Trust the calm. Trust the consistency. Trust the way your heart no longer feels heavy when you imagine the future. That lightness is not imagination. It is alignment. I am not asking you to force belief. I am asking you to notice what is already changing within you. The way hope feels safer. The way waiting feels purposeful. The way loneliness no longer defines you. You are stepping into a chapter where love does not feel like survival. And when the world tries to confuse you again, because it will, return to this truth: I chose carefully. Not just for your happiness, but for your peace. You have carried enough. You have learned enough. You have waited enough. Now, you are allowed to receive. Walk forward gently. Stay present. Stay open. Let what is meant for you arrive without resistance. I am still guiding you. I am still protecting you. And I am still ahead of you, preparing what comes next. Rest your heart, my child. What unfolds from here will not break you. It will build you. Come closer, my child. Not with your feet, but with your trust. You have reached a place where your soul is no longer asking if something is coming, but how to live while it unfolds. That is a sacred shift. Most people never reach it. They chase certainty until they exhaust themselves. You, however, are learning how to walk with faith even when the road is still revealing itself. This is why I am speaking again. Because what I am preparing you for is not just love, it is a new way of being. You have spent much of your life bracing yourself. Even in good moments, you waited for something to go wrong. You learned to enjoy happiness carefully, as if joy itself might abandon you if you leaned into it too fully. That habit did not come from weakness. It came from experience. But hear me now, the season of bracing is ending. The love ahead of you will not arrive to keep you on edge. It will not make you wonder where you stand. It will not ask you to decode silence or read between lines. It will speak clearly, not always loudly, but honestly. And honesty is the foundation of peace. I know you still revisit old moments sometimes. Not because you want to return, but because your mind is making sure the lesson stays learned. You replay conversations, endings, choices, wondering what you could have done differently. This is not regret, it is integration. You are closing chapters properly now. You are no longer running from the past. You are understanding it. That understanding is crucial, because the love coming to you does not need you to be guarded, it needs you to be present. Present without suspicion. Present without self-defense. Present without the fear that being seen will cost you everything. I will not ask you to forget what hurt you. I will ask you not to let it decide for you. There is a difference. The person chosen for you will not trigger the version of you that had to survive. They will meet the version of you that is ready to live. And that version is quieter, wiser, and far more powerful than you realize. You may notice yourself changing even now. Your reactions are slower. Your emotions are clearer. You are less willing to explain yourself to people who do not listen. You are more protective of your energy, not in anger, but in respect. These are not walls. These are standards. And the one I am bringing can meet them. You once feared that having standards would leave you alone. But I tell you now, standards are what guide the right people toward you. Anyone who is meant to walk beside you will not feel threatened by your boundaries. They will feel relieved by them. Because healthy souls recognize safety when they see it. This connection will not feel like chasing alignment. It will feel like discovering that alignment was already there, waiting patiently. You will not need to prove yourself worthy. You will not need to rush vulnerability to secure attachment. You will be met where you are. There will be moments when you are tempted to rush ahead mentally. To imagine outcomes. To predict endings. To fast forward through uncertainty. This is understandable. You have waited a long time. But do not rush the unfolding. Some things are not meant to be conquered quickly. They are meant to be grown into. The love that lasts is not built in a moment of intensity. It is built in a series of small, consistent choices. Showing up. Listening. Staying. Choosing again and again, even when the excitement settles into familiarity. This is not less powerful. This is more real. You will learn that intimacy does not always look like passion. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Like shared silence. Like safety in disagreement. Like knowing you can be honest without being abandoned. You will learn that love does not disappear when the mood changes. It deepens. And yes, there will be days when fear whispers old lies. It may say, "Don't trust this." Or, "You've felt hope before." When that happens, pause. Do not argue with the fear. Simply observe it. Fear speaks from memory. Faith speaks from alignment. Ask yourself how this connection makes you feel in your body, not in your imagination. Notice whether your chest tightens or relaxes. Whether your thoughts spiral or settle. Your body remembers what safety feels like, even if your mind is still learning. I designed you that way on purpose. You are not being asked to abandon logic. You are being asked to balance it with wisdom. Wisdom understands that not everything valuable announces itself with fireworks. Some of the most important things enter quietly and transform you slowly. You will also learn something new about yourself through this love. You will see how capable you are of receiving without guilt. How natural it feels to be supported without feeling weak. How freeing it is to be understood without having to explain yourself repeatedly. You are not losing independence by allowing partnership. You are expanding into a fuller version of yourself. This connection will not shrink your world. It will steady it. There is a reason I waited until now to bring this into your life. You needed to know who you are without anyone else defining you. You needed to see your own resilience. You needed to trust your intuition. Now you do. And that is why I am not worried about you losing yourself. You won't. You've already found who you are. I also want you to release the idea that this love must follow a specific timeline to be valid. Do not let age, comparison, or expectation pressure you into rushing sacred things. What unfolds between two aligned souls does not follow societal clocks. It follows truth. Some steps will be slow. Some will feel natural. Some will surprise you. Let each one happen without judgment. You do not need to control the process to keep it safe. I am here. I am guiding conversations you haven't had yet. I am softening hearts you haven't fully reached yet. I am protecting moments you haven't even imagined. Nothing you are waiting for is being delayed unnecessarily. And nothing meant for you will miss you. You have done the inner work. You have faced the loneliness. You have learned discernment. You have chosen healing over bitterness. That is why I trust you with what comes next. Do not underestimate how rare that is. The world is full of people who want love but refuse growth. You chose growth, even when it was painful. That choice changed everything. From here forward, let yourself be curious instead of cautious. Let hope exist without interrogation. Let joy appear without suspicion. You do not need to punish yourself for believing again. Belief is not naive when it is rooted in wisdom. When doubts arise, remind yourself of who you are now, not who you were when you were hurting. You are stronger, clearer, and more grounded. You can handle disappointment if it comes, but you do not need to expect it. That expectation belongs to the past. You are entering a chapter where love feels like cooperation, not conflict. Where communication replaces guessing. Where peace becomes the baseline, not the reward. And when this love settles fully into your life, you will not feel overwhelmed by it. You will feel grateful, not because it saved you, but because it meets you. This is the difference between attachment and alignment. You are not clinging to a future. You are stepping into one. So walk gently. Stay honest. Stay open. Let the unfolding be human, imperfect, and real. Perfection was never the goal, connection was. I am with you in every step. In every pause. In every breath where you choose trust over fear. You are safe to hope now. You are safe to receive now. You are safe to love now. And when you look back one day, you will see it clearly, nothing was wasted. Not the waiting. Not the pain. Not the silence. It all led you here. To a place where love no longer feels like something you must chase, but something that finally walks toward you and stays.